Hello, be sure to watch to the end of the video so you can learn how to win my copy of 55 Underemployed and Faking Normal, Your Guide to a Better Life by Elizabeth White. Joanne here with Financial Fridays on the Broadcast Sunny channel. I am reviewing the book 55 Underemployed and Faking Normal, Your Guide to a Better Life. I thought it was a memoir, but it is not. Well, it sort of is. It's more of a how-to and resource book. I missed the subtitle, Your Guide to a Better Life, but I love memoirs. Regardless, I read it. I thought it was a good book for those of you who are living on a budget, hence Financial Fridays. There are anecdotes in the book from the author's life that to me establishes her as an authority of being in a dark place at a time when you're not quite reaching Social Security age, but the rest of the working world sees you at the end of your career too close to Social Security or too close to retirement that they don't want to bother with you. She also says, though, that it's not just ageism, it's also your network is falling apart. You can't rely on people you used to rely on because they are now retired or no longer have a network that is helpful. So it was an interesting read. I did read it regardless of not being a memoir. But this was mainly in the start of the book, the first third of the book. And it was interesting to hear from her life and how she dealt with it. And then she moves on to being more of a resource and giving great tips and places you can go for help. Now, despite what you might think, I am not quite 50. And yet, in this book, I could have used a lot of the resources that she had in there several years ago when I was struggling to find work. So, did I like the book? Well, with everything, it's a difficult one to answer. If I look at it as a resource, yes, I like the book. It was good. It was a good resource. She had quotes in there and statistics that are backed by reliable sources like AARP, MIT, Washington Post. She also had a lot of great tips in there, like many retirees are moving out of country because the standard of living is cheaper. She also talks about the psychological effects of living on a lower income, how it affects families and friends, how the relationships with them are different now, and how you have to get over this keeping up with the Joneses mentality, which was interesting. I also found interesting her look upon the gig economy, which she called something else, I forgot, and she said today it's called gig economy. And I know what she's talking about, and I'm hoping you guys do too. But she said it was difficult to find a permanent job, so she's doing odd jobs here and there to make ends meet, and she believes that companies are encouraging this gig economy because it's cheaper on them. There's no health care, there's no retirement plan, and they only have to pay them for a certain amount of time. So that was interesting and a bit scary to read and understand. I'm hoping they might that might get established. I don't know, we'll see how that develops over time, right? There are a lot of little stories peppered throughout the book from people who wrote into her. She became big when she wrote a blog post about her troubles of finding work after the age of 55. There's also a TED Talk on YouTube from her blog post that it will give you an indication of what this book is about as well. So many of these little stories seem to indicate, to me, a lot of the troubles, including Elizabeth White's, came from the 2008 recession, where a lot of people lost their job and had trouble finding work afterwards, and this community of getting close to retirement age, I guess nobody wanted to hire them, so they got hit harder than a lot of other people. My problem with the book was that it was very negative. It was so negative. It was so depressing that I had at times had to put down the book and just walk away because it was so depressing. She says in the beginning of the book that she doesn't want to make it depressing, but to encourage one to, do something about their situation to make it better, which I appreciate, but the undertone was quite depressing. For instance, that about moving to another country. So she talks about moving to another country because it's a cheaper standard of living. But then right afterwards, she talks about, but prices are going up now in these places, and the charm of the city is being lost, so it's not as nice as so many years ago. She also quotes an MIT statistics that people over the age of 55 are more likely to have be successful entrepreneurs. Huzzah! But then she goes on to write, but it's so hard to start a business, and these are the reasons why it's so hard, and almost as if making excuses of not getting out of your giving you excuses of why you can't get out of your stuck in the mud. Now, it's not easy to start a business. I get that. But it was just maybe start with the negative and end with the positive. I don't know. It was just always leaving me with this like, oh God, I'm going into my 50s and there's no hope. I'm doomed. Despite its bleak outlook, in the end, I would recommend the book because there are a lot of great tips in there. And she is relatable. I like to think she's out of her little slump with this book, but it has some great ideas for those in a small fixed income who are trying to live on a budget or trying to make ends meet. And if you can just get past that bleak outlook and see it for the tips, the resources, maybe it can help you to find help or to get some ideas of how you can get out of your situation and have that better life. So to win this copy of 55 Underemployed and Faking Normal, enter to win during the month of June 2019. The winner will be announced July 1st, 2019 on the Broadcast Sunny channel. The link to the entry form is in the description of this YouTube page. Please enter. And like always, please like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, to Broadcast Sunny channel. Thank you.